And Islam's already tweeted at you a few times, and like the most recent one, he says, "You're not Volk. I'll show you there at different levels. Keep my belt clean." Do you have any response to Islam?
No, come get it. Come get it.
Islam Makhachev just went off on Jack Della Maddalena in a wild Twitter rant, blasting the welterweight contender and teasing a surprise new opponent. The lightweight champ isn't holding back, and things are getting heated fast. It seems things are going Khabib Nurmagomedov's way, as he reportedly wasn't in favor of Belal Muhammad fighting Islam Makhachev, even if Belal managed to defeat Jack Della Maddalena. With the latest developments, Khabib's preference might be taking shape, possibly influencing the direction of the division and Islam's next opponent. This adds an interesting layer of behind-the-scenes strategy to the title picture in the UFC.
I thought that I'm promoting it, it's just that I know what it's like to be a double champ, and I know Islam wants it. You know what I'm saying, brother? But I just don't know if you guys are that close. Like, if it was you and Islam, no fight. I get it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like we were talking about, the ATT guy, they just come in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's different, Khabib.
Honestly, yes.
Do you do it for legacy, or do you do it for not a brother but a friend?
I understand your question.
Brother, I go championship belt.
If they ask me if I do it below, like when I was.
Islam Makhachev, however, had no issues with fighting Belal Muhammad or any potential outcome. His main focus was cementing his legacy by becoming a double champion. He was open to facing whoever stood in his path, driven by the goal of making history.
Shown interest that you want to cement your legacy by becoming a double champ potentially. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, what's your...
Honestly, Bilal killed my plan, you know?
Yeah.
We become like close friend, we have same manager, we can talk, you know? But we was, because I have opponent, he has
an opponent now too.
But nobody would know what's gonna be in the future, you know? Have same dream.
Yeah.
I want to be double champs, and I just will waiting for my chance, because not make sense give the chance third time from the some guy who come. If I beat, I beat the Volkanovski twice. People still say you beat small guy. Yeah. He's not your weight division. If I beat Tapura, it's gonna be same. Everybody gonna talk same. But if I
go up,
takes a second belt, this is a legacy.
Yeah.
I want to be like you know?
However, things now appear to be going in Khabib Nurmagomedov's favor, aligning with his reported stance against Islam fighting Belal. Interestingly, this also supports Henry Cejudo's earlier prediction, where he envisioned matchups like Kamaru Usman versus Joaquin Buckley and Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena.
And Islam's going to take his title, and Islam's the new champion. Let's stop thinking that. I think it's an intriguing fight. I think it's a really, really good fight, and it's a tough matchup for both guys. Now, with Islam coming in, that throws a wrench into where I am at, because Buckley and I go out there and we put on an impressive performance. Hey, we're next.
Yeah,
I'm next. If I go out there and I put on an impressive performance against Buckley, I'm next in that.
But can I tell you something, Kamaru? This is where the wrench is being thrown in. You're boys with Islam, and honestly, I favor Islam in this fight with JDM. Islam defeats JDM. You beat Joaquin Buckley. Well, I can already see you. Just, getting uncomfortable there, Kush. Are we gonna see a potential matchup with the Nigerian Nightmare and Islam Makhachev? Whoa!
It's one of those things that it's one of those things that we'd have to talk about. Obviously, that's a blockbuster fight.
Prior to Belal Muhammad's fight, Daniel Cormier also dropped subtle hints about a potential clash between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena. While nothing was confirmed at the time, Cormier's comments suggested that discussions were already taking place behind closed doors. Now, with recent developments aligning with Khabib and Henry Cejudo's vision, those early hints from DC seem to be turning into reality.
You saw Hunter Campbell in Dagestan earlier in the week. You knew that for him to go there, he had to be doing big business. It feels like now we're finally getting closer to what's next. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall to hear that conversation. How do we get you to fight Taporia? Or how do we get you to commit to fighting at 170? I know Islam's not afraid of anyone. I know Ilya is not afraid of anyone. Those guys will fight anybody. I'm just happy that now we've finally gotten to a point where we understand who is fighting who. Bilal Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena, which has now become an even bigger fight than it was before.
During the same timeline, Dana White also dropped some hints regarding a potential Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena matchup. While the UFC president didn't explicitly confirm anything, his comments suggested that the fight could be in the works, adding another layer of intrigue to the ongoing discussions. With Khabib and Cejudo's influence, plus DC's early suggestions, Dana's hints seem to indicate that this matchup is gaining momentum behind the scenes.
Lastly for Dana, Ilya Topuria did an interview a few minutes ago where he said the winner of this fight is going to determine whether he fights Islam Makhachev or Charles Oliveira on International Fight Week. Can you confirm that that's the stakes attached to this main event too?
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts right now, and yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Paddy Pimblett also weighed in on the situation, throwing his support behind Islam Makhachev while stirring the pot with an unexpected twist. He questioned what Islam's potential move to welterweight means for the lightweight division, sparking fresh debate about vacant titles, rising contenders, and the future of the 155-pound landscape. Pimblett's reaction added another layer of intrigue to an already chaotic title picture.
He showed he's got good takedown defense there, but Islam's a different beast, isn't he? So we'll have to see how his strength transfers up to welterweight. Main card, UFC probably won't be too happy with that, like 4 fights went to decision, but there were some good fights in there. The main event was better than I expected it was going to be, to be honest. Jack Della, new champ, he'll be fighting Islam next, I think. Let's see what happens in my division now, who ends up fighting for the belt and who ends up getting the belt. Could have big implications for my career going forward. And then obviously Valentina, as we said, the best flyweight of all time.
However, when it comes to the lightweight division, the real discussion centers around whether Islam Makhachev will be stripped of his belt if he moves up to welterweight. Michael Bisping addressed this in detail, arguing that Islam shouldn't be stripped and deserves a fair chance to pursue double champ status. According to Bisping, Makhachev has earned the right to chase greatness without being forced to relinquish his 155-pound crown.
But is that for the interim belt or is that for the undisputed belt? Because some people, they say that Islam should be stripped.
I think Dana should just do Dana stuff and just say, hey, Islam, if you don't want to fight, you're stripped.
Because some people that I work with, called Adam and Nick Pete from the Fight Disciples, I work with them on TNT Sports, they say that Islam should be stripped. Now, I think that's crazy, but they do raise some good points. When you look at the lightweight rankings, there is some people that he hasn't yet fought. I'm looking at them right now, of course. There's Arman Sarukian, he's number 1. There's Justin Gaethje, that's number 3. Max Holloway's number 4. There's Mateusz Gamrot. There's Paddy Pimblett. There's a lot of viable contenders. However, I'm kind of with Islam here. He has been a great champion. He's taking short notice replacements like Renato Moicano on just like a day's notice, okay? He's defended the belt 4 times, and he has given Volkanovski a chance of becoming a 2-weight division champion at the risk of Islam Makhachev. So he just wants those same opportunities. I don't think we should strip Islam Makhachev, but the conversation is out there. That narrative does exist. Some people are saying that online as well, that if he's going to walk away from the lightweight championship, then you don't get to keep the belt. I disagree. I think he's been such a great champion. I think he deserves the opportunity that others have been afforded, like George St. Pierre, Conor McGregor, Amanda Nunes, Daniel Cormier. Of course, when you do that, it does create a messy situation. Just look at the heavyweight division right now. We know the whole mess with John Jones and Tom Aspinall. Jones is the undisputed. Tom's defending the interim, okay? And we don't want to create this situation again. However, if anyone deserves it, it's Islam Makhachev.
Javier Mendes also weighed in on the situation, suggesting that an interim title would be the best solution if Islam Makhachev moves up. This would allow him to pursue welterweight glory while preserving the narrative of the lightweight division, especially the highly anticipated fight between Islam and top contender Ilya Topuria. Mendes believes this approach would keep the division's storyline intact without derailing any potential matchups or title aspirations.
Yeah, of course, that would make everybody happy. You know, if something like that were to happen and the UFC gods make those decisions and everybody accepts, that would be the ideal situation. You know, and again, like I said, these are actual facts of what could happen. and are going to be discussed. I know that what we're talking about are discussions to be made. What will happen, we don't know, but we're pretty close. I'm pretty sure about that. I mean, it's very obvious. Anybody that's a real fan and follows the sport knows that, you know, this is the actual scenarios that could play out.
Meanwhile, Ariel Helwani had an interesting argument, suggesting that instead of stripping Islam Makhachev or creating an interim title, why not just have him fight Ilia Topuria in 47 days? Helwani proposed that whether Islam wins or loses that fight, he could then move on to face Jack Della Maddalena, ensuring that the lightweight division's narrative remains strong. This way, fans wouldn't lose interest, and the division could keep its momentum going without unnecessary complications.
47 days away. Right? It's 47 days away. JDM was just in an absolute war. Why can't Islam fight Ilia in 47 days and then win or lose? His next fight is at 170. Why can't? There's one guy left, and it's such a gigantic fight. It's the second biggest fight that the UFC could put on. Some might say the biggest, given how popular they both are. Why can't he fight in 47 days? If Belal was going to win tonight, if what we're being told is accurate, he was going to fight in 47 days. So why can't we get that fight in 47 days? You have now cleaned out the division, including 2 featherweight champions, and then move up and go after 170, either after losing the belt or you move up and get the second title. Why can't that happen? I don't understand. If you were already willing to fight in 47 days, if Belal would have won, you're telling me if a couple of judges scored it differently, you were fighting in 47 days? You know what I mean?
No, it's a
That's
great
the part
point.
that I don't understand.
And
If I'm the UFC, I'm kind of annoyed.
However, it doesn't seem like the UFC will go in that direction, as Jack Della Maddalena has spoken out multiple times about his interest in fighting Islam Makhachev. Jack's vocal support for the matchup and his eagerness to step into the octagon with the lightweight champ suggests that he's ready for the challenge. But whether the UFC aligns with these plans remains to be seen. It looks like the UFC might prefer to stick with a more strategic route for the division's future.
Because now everybody's going to want to know what's next as you look forward.
I mean, obviously the welterweight has a lot of good challenges, but I think if someone like Islam wants to step up, you've got to give him the shot. You know, pound for pound, one of the best, and it would be a dream to fight one of the best pound for pound guys in the world with my first defense.
In another interview, Jack Della Maddalena seemed more than ready to take on Islam Makhachev, expressing confidence and eagerness for the challenge. Despite the tough road ahead, Jack made it clear that he's prepared to face one of the UFC's best, with his eyes set on proving himself at the highest level. His boldness added fuel to the speculation, suggesting that the fight could be closer than ever.
As champion now, the UFC says Islam Makhachev is next. What's your message for Islam?
He's one of the best pound for pound #1, so it'll be a pleasure to take him out and become pound for pound myself.
Do you think we're going to see that happen in Perth? Revenge for Volk in Perth?
I think it makes sense. You know, there's a bit of history in Perth. I know Makhachev. I think he had a good time in Perth last time, so why not? Let's do it again. I think the Perth crowd went absolutely crazy last time, and I think they would blow the roof off if there was a hometown boy being the champ.
How does the body feel? Do you think you'd be ready to go if it comes to you facing Islam in Perth?
Yeah, I'll be ready to go right now. Where is he?
Let's go, let's go.
Jack Della Maddalena went on to further express his interest in facing Islam Makhachev, even inviting the lightweight champion to fight him in Australia. His bold invitation not only showed his confidence, but also highlighted his determination to make this fight a reality. By calling out Islam and offering a location, Jack seems ready to take the next step in his career and prove himself on the global stage.
But if Islam after the fight says, you know what, he wants to step up, then yeah, I feel like I'd be happily give him the shot. Obviously what he's done, I don't think there'd be too many complaints of people that think that's not fair. Give some time for maybe, but hopefully we can do it kind of soon. Hopefully we can do it. I think they've got a card in Australia coming up, so maybe see what happens. Obviously not looking past Belal, but would love to fight in Australia.
Furthermore, Jack Della Maddalena also made a bold statement to Islam Makhachev during his post-fight conference in reaction to Islam's tweets directed at him, telling him that if Islam wants to keep his belt, he better step up. This challenge further heats up the tension between the two, signaling Jack's readiness to take on the champ and stake his claim for the lightweight title. With both fighters vocal about their intentions, it seems like the UFC might be in for a fiery showdown.
Islam's already tweeted at you a few times. Like the most recent one, he says, "You're not Volk. I'll show you there are different levels. Keep my belt clean." Do you have any response to Islam?
I know. Come get it. Come get it.
It seems like Islam Makhachev's team is also heading in the direction of a potential showdown with Jack Della Maddalena, as Javier Mendes has praised Islam's skills and confidently stated that Jack won't be a problem for him. Mendes's comments add fuel to the fire, indicating that Islam is ready to face whatever challenge comes his way, especially from a fighter like Jack, who has been vocal about stepping up to the plate. It seems like the groundwork for this fight is being laid behind the scenes.
That to Islam, if that's what the UFC decides to do, it would be, a legacy fight for Islam, because his goal was to fight for that welterweight title if it was available, meaning Belal wasn't there. But now that Belal's not there, if the UFC grants him that would be unbelievable, and even more unbelievable if it grants him that fight in a favorable place for us, but who knows? Let's see what they come up with. Like I said in the past, it's hard to say. It's hard to say if he's a harder challenge. I just know Islam wants this one. So for me, that's the challenge I want, and it's the challenge that I know Islam's going to be, supreme over, because I just know his skill set. I know what he brings to the table, and he brings an incredible work ethic along with skill set in every area. So, Islam's a whole different animal than the Jack's ever been involved with. So if that fight does materialize, we're going to see a hell of a fight, and you're going to see Islam perform at an absolute incredible level. And also, the weight is not super big for him either. So he's going to be a fairly decent welterweight. So Islam won't be a small guy. He'll be a decent welterweight if that fight materializes.
The coach of Islam Makhachev has shown strong support for the potential fight against Jack Della Maddalena, emphasizing how advantageous it would be for Islam. One of the key points Mendes highlighted was that Islam wouldn't have to endure the extreme strain of cutting weight anymore. Without the added stress of a grueling weight cut, Islam could enter the fight at his physical peak, allowing him to perform better and execute his game plan with greater precision. This could make the matchup even more intriguing, as Islam would have a distinct advantage, both physically and mentally, when facing a tough opponent like Jack in a potential showdown.
I'm hoping, I haven't seen it, so I haven't seen him at welterweight, but I'm thinking, logically speaking, he has to cut less weight, and recovery time is a lot less too. So, but if it is in Australia, we'll need it, because in Australia, they only give you 24 hours to recover. Then it's not a 36 hours like everywhere else. So we'll only have 24-hour recovery. So if that's the case, it's fantastic. And I don't know if that's going to be an advantage because of that reason. But if it's anywhere else where it's the 36-hour plus, then it's a nice advantage for Islam to recover quicker. Not that it's a disadvantage or not an advantage for Jack. It's the same for Jack, but for us, it could make a difference. 24 hours versus 36 hours for recovery, because I know it was for Volk. It was a big difference.
Javier also went on to discuss the strategy Islam Makhachev would employ in a potential fight with Jack Della Maddalena, emphasizing a well-rounded approach combining both striking and grappling. Mendes believes that Islam's ability to seamlessly blend these two elements would be key to his success in the matchup. While Islam is primarily known for his grappling and ground control, Mendes hinted that his striking would be more than capable of standing up to Jack's skills in the stand-up game. The mix of technical striking and dominant grappling would create a well-balanced game plan, giving Islam a strategic edge in the fight.
Well, remember, like I've always said, Islam is the type of fighter that he can change second per second, minute per minute, round for round, and go the direction that Khabib, myself, Magomed, or Saif Safullah, and even Muhammad, are the coaches that train him, would instruct him to do. So he will do what we ask him to do. So we will dictate the fight based on how well he's doing or not doing, and he can do it all. So can he take Jack down? Absolutely, he can take him down. Can he outstrike Jack? Absolutely, he can outstrike him. But is it wise to try to outstrike him? Like I feel we can. I don't know. It may not be. It may be a better deal to do what Belal should have done and what he didn't do. And that's something I know that Islam will do, because he's never not listened to us as his corner, his coaches. He's always listened to all of us. He is the most disciplined, well-trained fighter I've ever had in that department. He's never not done what Khabib or I has ever told him to do. Never.
Thanks for tuning in. It looks like the battle for the lightweight division is heating up, with Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena on a collision course. What do you think about this potential matchup? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more MMA updates. See you next time.